Hello there. They call me Mystery. Now, let's talk a little bit about a scary topic. The C word. Now, I don't mean something actually scary like cancer, but the other C word, communism. Now, unlike cancer, communism has to be one of the most propagandized concepts in the world. Like when something goes bad politically or economically, or maybe not. Maybe it's just inconvenient, like a COVID lockdown. You have people out there whose reaction is to say, hey, that's communism. But one thing is clear from this. It is common sense for people to react to the C word and immediately think, communism, bad, without knowing exactly why they are programmed to have this thought. But is communism really scary? Like, even if you think of yourself as progressive, there is still a part of you that feels uncomfortable when the C word is used. But where does this feeling come from? And why?
My name is Mystery, and this is my story.
Communism has been around for a long time as a theory. It is basically just a reaction to the horrors of the Industrial Revolution from a few hundred years ago and has been plodding along in the background, making ruling classes uneasy ever since. It's a concept for modern society, which sees people living in a more shared existence, without the focus of profit motive and private property being the only way that humanity can function. Basically, all the fruits of society, production, wealth, knowledge, are distributed due to there being no class distinctions. Now, that is not very scary. It's rather harmless, actually. A good debate is whether that is actually possible. But the question here is, why is this so scary? And the answer comes from its subversiveness. Thinking that society can function without the need of market systems where wealth is controlled by a small minority and wealth concentration decides social importance, that is some revolutionary thinking, and ideas are incredibly dangerous. Now let's say you have a society, like ours, let's say, with a large working population that struggles to maintain a decent quality of life, while a small group of obscenely rich people control the economy, entertaining, even flirting with an alternative social model which completely undermines the status quo is terrifying for the establishment. And so you must, as a ruling class, have a system of indoctrination and ideology which not only dismisses subversive ideas but persecutes them, degrades them, makes them out to be evil constructs of perverted minds that are here to steal not only your freedom but the freedom of your children and your children's children. Many people, when they hear communism, think Soviet Russia, maybe China and the CCP. They think Karl Marx and his bloodthirsty ideas. But communism predates Soviet Russia. It predates Marx. Communism was a reaction to the industrial world, where working people were treated like animals and appendages of machines. By the mid-1800s, working people across Europe were so frustrated and desperate due to their miserable conditions, they were happy to embrace a concept of society where working people weren't treated like disposable tools. And so there were uprisings against monarchies and governments, and in certain parts, working people, flying the red flag of communism, took hold of cities and governments because they were sick of the mistreatment. Now, they had no plans beyond that, and the scene quickly went back to the hands of previous governments and monarchies. But it was clear working people rallied behind an idea, and ideas are bulletproof. The working people of not just Europe, but Britain and the US, the major industrial powers at the time, were heavily influenced by worker solidarity and the power of the working class. As a result, union movements sprang up and turned into enormous political entities, and communist groups connected across the globe to create an international effort. Communism wasn't a specific target, it was amorphous. An idea of working people, a powerful one, and one that could create movements. Now let's fast forward to after World War II, and fascism has just been brought down in Europe. The US, in its completely philanthropic style, is helping to fund the restoration of Europe, Italy, France, etc., on one condition: that the very popular communist parties were outlawed. Or, if not, they aren't allowed to participate in free elections. So much for spreading democracy. But why? Because the idea is powerful, and communist ideals were thriving globally just after World War II. Communism is not a rivalry of one culture versus another, but a class against another. Classes transcend borders and governments. It's the dissatisfaction of an international working population, the masses of humanity, against the rulers of the global economy. The US, as the undisputed superpower of the world at the time and a capitalistic nation, wanted to ensure that its only competition, a truly subversive idea, was contained, if not neutralized. And so, decades of propaganda in the Western world ensued, thanks to the evil Russians, or Chinese, or Cubans, or even evil trade unions. It didn't matter, as long as the word communism was degraded in public opinion to be as disgusting as possible. That's why you have that Pavlovian response when you hear the word communism and think of misery and food stamps and concentration camps, because the real idea must be buried under irrational fear fed by Hollywood movies to keep you thinking straight. Communism isn't scary. It's just what they want you to think. So don't give them the satisfaction. Now, if you thought that was interesting, give it a like, leave a comment, and share this with someone who should hear this. And subscribe for more. There is much to learn before we can unlock the revolution. Remember, I am, you are, we are a mystery.